Town of Monroe Board meeting. Can we stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please?
George, you on?
What's that?
I was asking George if he was on.
Okay, can I get a motion to open up this evening's meeting?
I'll make that motion.
Bingham will second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye. Richardson, aye.
Okay, so moved. First item on the agenda is the town lighting for tomorrow, tree lighting for tomorrow night. That's going to be here from 6:30 to about 8. It looks like we're going to be lighting the tree or trees at approximately 7:15 to 7:20. We'll be in the upper parking lot. There'll be some refreshments inside here, and we got a couple of games that we could play with the children. So that's that. Next one up is Smith's Clove Park tree lighting. That's this Friday, December 6th at 6 to 7 p.m. They'll have hot chocolate, snacks, and obviously listening to holiday music like ours will be. And they have photo opportunities with the Grinch. And that's at Smith's Clove Park on 154 Spring Street. Next up is the Toys for Military Tots 2024. That is, toys will be donated to the children of Orange County disabled veterans and for children of the New York Air National Guard deployed and stationed at Stewart Air Force Base. We have to have everything dropped off and delivered by this Friday, so if there's anyone out there that wants to get involved, please do so by dropping a toy off here. And next up is the Town of Monroe, I'm sorry, Village of Monroe Police Department.
Movie night for veterans.
No,
Okay.
I'm throwing something in
Okay.
there, yep.
As an addition, the Monroe PBA is collecting new and unwrapped toys for boys and girls aged 0 to 10 who live within the Monroe community. So the police department is requesting that, the police department is requesting that all of the toys be delivered to them before December 15th. If you're interested in making a donation or if you have any questions, you can reach out to Police Officer Doug Hansen at d.hansen, that's Hansen, at monroepd.org. If you are a family in need or if you know of a family in need, you can reach out to Police Officer Parada at d.parada, Parada, at monroepd.org.
Are they both new toys?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
New and unwrapped. If they're doing it the way they did it in the past, they actually let the families go shopping.
Oh, nice.
Shopping.
Okay, next up, this Wednesday at 1 p.m. Or 6 p.m. Will be the free movie for the veterans. It's a free movie showing. It's going to be Gladiator 2. It's at Flagship Premium Cinemas in Monroe on the Mill Pond Parkway. Each guest will also receive a soda and a popcorn. And if any of you have interest or a veteran and want to go and you can attend with a guest, you can call Christian Farrell's office at 845-291-2470. Okay. Next up is mobile DMV. Dory?
So Kelly Eskew, the county clerk, will again have her mobile DMV here at Town Hall on Wednesday, December 11th. As usual, they are open from 10 to 12. They'll be closed from 12 to 1 for lunch, and then they'll reopen again at 1 and stay until 3:30. You can come down and do whatever you need to do with the DMV without leaving Monroe.
Can you also
Yes. So there are some new service times for Dial-A-Ride here in the town of Monroe. Starting on January 13th, 2025, service will be extended. The reservations will be available as early as 6 a.m. to travel to the local bus stops in the town of Monroe or the train station in Harriman, amongst other destinations in our service area. Evening service will also be extended, and the last available registration will be at 6 p.m. from any location in our service area, including the Harriman train station if available. If you have any questions, you can reach out to Dial-A-Ride at 845-783-6222.
Thank you. Next up is the winter weather reminders, and that's from our Highway Department. Safety remains our top priority, and please take the necessary precautions to ensure the well-being of our community. And there's an important parking notice. Just keep the roads clear, and they ask you to comply with the town code parking regulations, and please refrain from parking vehicles on town roads during winter weather. They don't want to have to tow anybody. We did have to tow, I think, 3 cars last year. So please keep your cars off the road the night or the day of any inclement weather. One other thing I want to mention, our county dealt with the fires in Greenwood Lake. We've had a multitude of fire departments come up from all parts of the state, out of state, and they did a phenomenal job. And right now, our Monbassia Fire Company is selling Christmas trees, and they're actually really nice Christmas trees. I mean, there's an array of them from 6 to 9 feet, I believe, and the prices range, I think, from $80 to $130, depending upon the size. Go down there, get a tree, show your appreciation for what they did for our community and how they represented our community, and also how they helped stop the fire out there in Greenwood Lake before it got to any homes.
Any special hours with that, or it's?
I went last night and they were open till 8. They're behind the firehouse,
Yeah, you can see.
and you could see they have a fire going to keep themselves warm. And I guess if the fire's going, they're open.
Okay.
I had a couple questions from constituents wanting to know if they accept monetary donations.
Monbassia always does.
Okay.
Okay. Next up are the public hearings. I'll make a motion to open the continuation of the public hearing in relation to the increase and improvement of facilities of Water District Number 14.
Bingham will second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pool, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay, so moved.
No public comment.
No public comment. Any update, Councilwoman?
No comment or update from Congressman Ryan's office, and nothing on the home rule either. So let's keep the public hearing open probably until February. I know we haven't set the dates yet.
The home rule's probably still held up,
Right.
maybe even April, but obviously it's up to you. And then the grant sheet, is it February that it's going to be announced on the Congress side? We actually had a date of when expected to hear back, and I thought it was in the summer. Did you get that document?
I think it's either late spring or summer, but I'd rather just keep it open until February, and if we have anything, then we can inform the public at that time as to what kind of updates we can give them.
Okay. You want to do the 3rd or the 24th?
On February 24th of 2025, I'll make a motion to keep the public hearing open
I'll second.
at 7 p.m. or soon thereafter as practicable.
Seconded by Councilman Scancarello. Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scancarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Pool, aye.
Richardson, aye.
So moved. Okay, next up, we need to reschedule the continuation of the public hearing for the zone change on Larkin Drive. When we originally rescheduled it, I thought our meeting was going to be on the 13th. It's not. It's on the 21st. So I will make a motion to reschedule the continuation of public hearing for the zone change on Larkin Drive for SBL 2-1-29.
Will second.
Call the question.
Am I?
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Supervisor, are we putting a date on that?
Yeah,
January 21st?
Okay, I'll make a motion to open up the continuation of the public hearing regarding the short-term rental application for 21 Front Street, SBL 16-3-1. Do I have a
Second.
call the question?
Am I?
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay. Brian, do you want to lay that out, how we're going to handle this? We're going to close the public hearing? And then we're
Yeah,
gonna-
according to the applicant, any issues are taken care of, so the board can close the public hearing, and then we can prepare a resolution with the 5 factors, for approval for the January meeting.
Question. I know we were waiting for some verification from, I believe it was the ZBA or the planning board. I didn't see anything in my agenda packet, so when we have that resolution done, could I also have the backup information, please?
Yeah, we've advised the applicant anything that, is needed is going to be, have to be presented well before January. So any documentation will be forwarded to the board before the resolution.
Did we decide which version that he was pursuing? Was it the inclusion of the second lot?
I believe there was a green space or something that was part of the open area for the
Lot
application.
line was supposed to be moved.
Yeah, to include that parcel. I think it was from Round Hill LLC, which he indicated
He
was
was
done.
pursuing that route and then
He
did,
indicated it's
yeah.
been done, so.
Okay,
But you're going to have
yeah.
to provide proof of that if we don't have it already. I'm going to check with the building department.
Yeah, you know what? I'd like to do it on January 21st, so it gives us time to gather the information, because otherwise we'd be gathering it in between the holidays. Well, I'll make a
Why don't we
motion.
do this? Let's, because he may be submitting additional documents, why don't we leave it open for written comment, close the public portion, but leave it open for written comment. If you want, January 2nd, you could pick for the written comment and then put it on for decision at that second meeting.
So the planning board actually got to this matter and it was
I haven't
finalized.
seen everything according to the applicant.
Oh.
Everything's taken care
Okay,
of,
great.
but
Yeah,
we'll see.
we'll see.
May not be the case.
Okay, so I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for the short-term rental application of 21 Front Street, SBL 16-3-1, and keep it open for written comments until January 2nd, 2025.
I'll second.
Call the question?
Sorry, it's discussion. Was your recommendation to keep it open for written after the 21st, if that's when we're scheduling him to come in to approve it, so that if
I
there's
was
new
recommending
information that came
keep
up?
it open for written until January 2nd,
Okay.
and then put it on the 21st for the approval.
So it doesn't matter if he has new information that comes up? That was just my concern.
Well, he's going to have to submit that before January 2nd.
Okay, thank you. Yeah,
For that written
got it.
comment period.
Okay.
Call the question?
Am I?
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay, a motion to open the continuation of the reopening of the public hearing for local law H-V1 of 2022 to amend Chapter 7 concerning the regulations governing Dennis's tree preservation.
I think you have to say it in the right way, so.
Do I have a second?
We'll
second.
second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay, so we're waiting for, the planning board submitted their comments. We're waiting for the planner to gather those comments and make any determination whether we have to make some article in or the stuff that we. George?
Mike, you just.
Oh, I couldn't even hear him. So basically, we're waiting for the comments from Max Stack. Those comments will hopefully be back to us before the holidays, and then we could move forward with it at the January 21st meeting.
I don't think.
Now it's on.
Yeah.
Yep.
Just for the record, it is not my tree.
Don't blame Dennis.
I don't know who you are. What's your name?
Yeah, Dennis Ford and Monroe Conservation Commission. No, it's my tree law. Yes, I have made significant comments. We've now been in the process of doing this, I think, for 2 years.
Over to you.
So hopefully we can get to a conclusion early in the new year. I think they were, based on the comments that I reviewed from the planning board, there are going to have to be changes to the draft. I have to believe this. So that there will, I'm assuming, be a new draft that will hopefully be available prior to the next meeting or whenever, so that it can be reviewed prior to and maybe approved at the next board meeting. Okay, good. Thank you.
Don't jinx
Thank
it.
you, Dennis.
Don't jinx it.
Don't jinx it. Okay, thank you.
All right, bye-bye now.
Thanks, Dennis.
Okay, I'll make a motion to keep open the continuation of the public hearing regarding local law H-V1 of 2022 to amend Chapter 57 concerning regulations governing tree preservation. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
When do you want to extend?
I'm going to do, January 21st at 7 PM or immediately thereafter.
Second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Full aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay. We need a motion to approve this evening's minutes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
Any changes, alterations, corrections? Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Full aye.
Richardson, abstain.
Item 6.1 is the general fund abstract. I'll make a motion. Be it resolved that the Town Board of Town of Monroe requests approval of abstract number 24-17 containing of the general fund containing checks number 36039 through 36083, which total $65,650.80.
Full second.
Discussion? I noticed there was an item on there for Schmitz with the water meters. I haven't had a chance to look at the vouchers yet. I don't know if somebody here assigned it. Could you tell me if that was allocated from ARPA funds, or is that allocated to the individual districts getting the meters?
When are you talking about?
Schmitz?
Water meters and equipment?
Mm-hmm.
24,000
And change?
532. No, I'll get it for you.
Wouldn't it, if we used our ARPA funds in '23?
Well, no, we've allocated all of the money from the ARPA funds.
While you're looking, I'm going to hold that thought, table it till right after. I'll make a motion to table it until right after we do a little more research.
Full second.
Call the question.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Full aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay. Item 7.1 is a budget amendment abstract. Be it resolved that the Town Board of Town of Monroe approves budget transfer abstract 2024-02 totaling $66,835, and that amends the 24 budget to reflect the actual FTA 5307 money received. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Full aye.
Richardson, aye.
2025 Town Board meeting calendar. I'll make a motion to approve that. You have it in front of you.
I'll second.
Past years, we've done half-day for, I believe it was before Thanksgiving. Why don't we just make it official and add that onto the employees' calendar?
Because you have union contracts that you're dealing with, and we have a 13, I think it's 13 day holiday calendar, and they're different between us and Dial-A-Bus are similar, and the highway is different.
So when we do grant that half-day off, how is that
Does that make a
handled?
difference?
Since,
We're not on the
This is
holiday
just the
calendar.
Town of Monroe.
This is our
Yeah.
board meeting calendar.
This is town meeting dates, 8.1.
Yeah,
oh, sorry.
You
I was-
accidentally jumped
I'm
in.
trying to do two things at once.
Now
And
you're
it's
trying
not
to do three
working.
things.
Do we, oh, we do have to.
All right.
call
so
the
for
question.
Bingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Cool, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay, next up is the 8.2, 2025 employee holiday calendar, as we just discussed.
Okay, now you can go. Does that make a difference when we call the half-day sort of the same week versus putting it on the calendar? Can we do anything to address his concerns that,
I think the point that the supervisor is making is that the contracts are going to include 13 paid holidays, and we have that already allocated. So if we were to change the paid holidays, we'd have to go back and change them for the IBEW contract.
but this says they have them separated out. So the 2025 holiday calendar for the IBEW union is one,
Right.
and then there's the other. So can we
Right.
add, does that solve it? If
Not
we add-
without, no, because the Dial-A-Bus also has a contract. So we'd have to go back and we'd have to renegotiate that contract. If we were to open up those
What if
contract negotiations.
We just do a separate third bump out.
Well,
for
when
exec-
we,
for
when we
administrative.
called a half-day for the day before Thanksgiving, was that for only town hall?
No, it was.
It was for
It
all
was-
town employees?
It was for everybody, but I don't ask the highway superintendent usually comes to me, and so does the Dial-A-Bus supervisor. I mean,
If I can, Supervisor, if the question's about changing anything on the holidays for any union, good or bad, even if you wanted to give them another day, you have to negotiate it. You can't just.
Right, we can, but that's a separate calendar is my point. Correct?
Right. But-
Yeah.
So
we
you're looking to
wouldn't-
make a change to that calendar?
No, not right
Then-
here.
Then
We're
what's
talking
the
about,
question?
we're just, this is something that they do every year, and it just seems that if the employees get it every year, they should know they get it every year and just add it to the calendar. And if we can just add an administrative calendar, I mean, why else are we approving it, right? Just add the half-day now.
Talking about only the non-union
Sure,
calendar?
if we can.
I'm sorry?
Yes, if we can. The non-union.
I'm not going to do anything that goes against what we've negotiated with the unions, because we made the unions, in essence, form their holidays to ours, with the exception of the day of choice by the highway department.
Yeah, and we also have to check, at least one of the, I'm not positive, but one of them may have language about getting the same holidays as the town.
As this one, okay,
so
that makes sense.
we'd end up in the same spot by,
So then how are we able to call a half-day at all then?
how are we,
Are
what?
we able to what?
Call the half-day at all?
Well, because for non-union, it would be up to you as the board, but for union, you can't make any changes in terms and conditions of employment without negotiation.
Yes, and then we've just addressed that multiple times, but he's just said you can't make them different, but we
No, no.
are when we say have the half-day.
Right, but their contract doesn't say, in other words, I'd want to look at it, but I believe it may have language about receiving the same holidays. As far as this half-day, again, it's
Right,
still,
we've been doing it, so how have we been doing it?
because if the contract doesn't say that,
Uh-huh.
right, there might be one contract that doesn't say that, and now you can do it for non-union in that case, but I would want to check both contracts, because good or bad, you can't just impose a change on the unions.
Right,
Good or bad?
we're not
That's the
asking
point,
to
good or
impose a
bad.
change on the.
Right.
Right, if you're looking to only do it for non-union, I'd have to look at those contracts, because it's still going to be imposing a non-union, in which case we're going to have to sit down and negotiate. If it says we get the same thing the town gets, then yes, they'd
Because
be
we've been
entitled
doing
to.
it, so I don't know if that.
I understand what you're
Yeah.
saying, but you're asking me the question
Yes,
tonight.
no, I agree. I
I'm not
think
going to
we
just give you an
need to
answer
check.
without looking at those contracts
Okay.
and telling you the impact of it.
Yeah,
Do we have a second?
Yeah, we have.
And we're talking about Thanksgiving of '25, correct?
Yes.
So you've got plenty of time to decide that holiday.
right, it's just that we gave the half-day for this
That's why we thought maybe we should just add it now, but your explanation clarifies without
Yes.
looking at the contracts. We can't do that. Okay.
Call the question.
Bingham, aye?
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
And can we go back to the abstract now?
Yep.
Richardson, aye.
Sorry, I cut you off, sorry. It looks like it's being charged to the individual districts. So I'll vote for the abstract, but I would like to double-check with finance to make sure that there isn't going to be some kind of transfer later on from ARPA for this.
I'm sorry, what was your suggestion that you want to?
I would vote, we do need the meters, so I will vote for
Yes,
the abstract,
okay.
24.
Are you asking for anything
dash
conditional, or
17.
can we just approve? Are you asking for anything conditional, or can we just approve it?
We can approve it. I'll
Thank
just
you.
double-check with finance on my own.
Okay,
Second.
so I had made the motion. Sal seconded it? Sorry.
First motion was Tony and Dory. No call to question. Then you tabled it, Tony and Dory.
I'll make the motion. Abstract. Dory will second it. Call the question.
Bingham, aye?
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Richardson, aye. So we're at 8.3 now? Yes.
Oh, we're at
Yeah. We're at
8.3
8.3.
employee
Yeah,
carryovers.
8.3.
So you have before you a list of days based on the employee handbook, section 802. Employees are allowed to carry over vacation days through a request to the town board. All those carryover days must be used by March 31st, 2025. So
Open for discussion?
I'll make a motion to approve it. You said second for discussion.
So I went back and I looked at 2022, there were 6 employees for a total of 22 days. In 2023, there were 9 employees and it went to 32 days. Now it's up to 15 employees and 62 days and 11 hours. There's still a whole month. I think these employees should be at least taking 2 more days, possibly 3 more days, and not having so much carryover. 2 months of carryover between the 15 employees, I think it's gotten a little out of hand.
Is there anything in the contracts or in the employee handbook that limits the number of total days that could be carried over? Like, for instance,
5.
you have well, that's per year.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about you have an employee who's been here for 10 years and has consistently carried over 5 days. That means that they potentially, if they've never taken those 5 days that they've carried over, that means that they could potentially have 50 days of vacation.
No.
Is there anything that caps
Because it's
the total number of days that they can
For each of-
accumulate
It's
for each
each
employee?
It's
year,
capped
the
at-
next
what's
calendar
here.
year, you can only take 5 with you.
It's capped
That's
at
not the
5.
question I'm asking.
It's capped at 5.
Is
It's
there
capped- yeah.
in the aggregate?
In the contract.
It's right
You're
here.
specifically talking about in the contract. 'cause
I'm
there
not, I'm
are-
not talking about annually. I'm talking
no,
about
but-
in the aggregate. I'm talking about how many days is
But
there a
that's what we're trying to tell you, is that because the wording says the next calendar year, they abandon them. You can only take the 5 days, and then you can
By
only
March
carry
31st.
into the next 5. So if you had, say, what do they start out with? I don't know, say you start out with 10, but you carried 5 from the previous year, now you have a total of 15, and you can only take 5 into the next calendar year, so it's right, it's kind of deceiving language, but it's right there.
Question?
Carry over all these days, nay.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Well, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay, so moved. Intermunicipal agreement for the dial-a-ride with the town of Blooming Grove is in front of you. It's to assist getting our residents over to some doctor's appointments in the town of Blooming Grove. I'm going to make a motion to approve that.
I will actually make the motion to authorize
you-
the supervisor to sign
ahead.
the IMA between the town of Monroe and town of Blooming Grove for dial-a-ride services within the town of Blooming Grove.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Am I?
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Okay. Monroe Commons Stormwater Control Facility Maintenance Agreement and the MS4 SWIP acceptance form. That's in front of you. It was reviewed by our engineer.
I'll make a motion authorizing the supervisor to sign the stormwater control facility maintenance agreement for Monroe Commons.
Question?
Am I?
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Okay. Next up is the bond conversion request from DG Realty. We have a resolution. Questions? Any have? Whereas the resolution is authorizing a conversion of performance security from bond to cash for DG Realty Management LLC. Whereas DG Realty Management LLC, known as DG Realty, has previously posted a performance security bond, performance security, with the town of Monroe, the town, concerning the DG Realty subdivision located in the town. And whereas on February 5th, 2024, the town board has approved a reduction in the performance security to $326,914.22. And whereas DG Realty has requested to convert performance security from a bond to posting a cash deposit to serve the same purposes as the security performance. And whereas the town board does not object to the posting of the cash deposit for performance security, now therefore be it resolved that the whereas clauses are incorporated herein as if set forth in full. Section 2, town supervisor or his designee are hereby authorized to take any and all actions necessary to effectuate a conversion of the current bond posted to DG Realty to a cash deposit to be maintained in a town account in the amount of no less than $326,914.22. Section 3, the current performance security on file with the town shall not be vacated or returned until such time as the cash performance security clears in the account of the town. Section 4, the town supervisor and any other officer or employee as directed by the town supervisor is hereby authorized to take any and all necessary actions to carry out the provisions of this resolution. Section 5, this resolution shall be effective immediately.
Second for discussion.
Okay.
Can we just fix the typo in section 2? Should be a dollar sign in front of the $326,914.22.
Okay. Anything else? Question?
Am I?
Scangarello, aye.
Stone, aye.
Poole, aye.
Richardson, aye.
Okay, so moved. Okay. We have a sewer petition and application. And this is, I don't even know if we should call it an application, but this is the first I heard of this when I got the letter in late October. But it's essentially the New Mansion Ridge Sewer Company petition to increase rates. Now, we have to respond within 90 days of receipt of this, and the date we have to respond by is January 26th. I spoke to one of the accountants, Jason Giordano. He explained their position. The hike, they're billed quarterly, each of the townhouses, single-family homes, as well as the halfway house for golf and the community pool. So they're billed quarterly. It's a 28% increase. And when it was discussed with Jason Giordano from the auditing firm, it basically, and I'm sorry, because I did speak to Frank Giordano too. It basically outlined that for the previous 4 years, they lost money. And they lost, a decent amount of money. In '20, they lost $26,753. In '21, $2,096. In '22, $28,727. And in '23, $14,463. Now, I personally, this is a personal feeling on this, I think it's too much to place on homeowners, a 28% hike. I think this should have been done in a better fashion over time, let's say 2 or 3 years. So, Brian, I'll have you explain that, the process here, because if we don't respond in any way, then it automatically goes through, is the way I interpret it.
That's correct.
Okay. So we have to respond by the 26th, give our feelings, and I believe we have to put reasoning behind it.
You have to have some reasonable.
Yep.
Not going to
And that reasonable basis will, it's pretty obvious with the percentage increase. And I'm hoping to get it cut up into either 2 or 3 years. Hopefully we can do that so that the residents are not burdened with this. There is one resident here, Ed Long. Would you come up and just, rather than speaking at public comment, since we're talking on the topic?
I have a prepared statement.
Just state your name, where you are.
Hi, my name's Ed Long Senior. I'm a resident of Mansion Ridge, have been for about 10 years, a little more than 10 years. Moved up here from the city back in 2014. And I am an owner of a single-family home. I'm on the board at the Mansion Ridge HOA. I'm a VP there. As you said, there's 110 units. There's 80 of them that are villas attached, 31 single-family homes. We abut the Mansion Ridge Golf Course, as you probably know. First off is that we pay separately for water and sewer. We get a quarterly bill for water and sewer. The residents of the single-family homes receive a quarterly bill amounting to approximately $1,800 per year. Okay, that's just for sewer. On top of that, we get a bill quarterly for water, all right, that amounts to approximately $2,000 a year. Okay, so that's $4,000 for sewer and water. Depending on how dry the summer is, it could be more than $2,000. People aren't even watering their lawns because it's so expensive, the water. So this is like a monopoly for water and sewer, all right? The people who built the community own this water and sewer infrastructure as well, all right? Anyway, so the reason I'm here is to share with you a notice that the community received from the vendor on November 27th that our sewer bill is going up 28%. I've lived here, as I said, 10 years, and I've grown accustomed to the same sewer bill over that period, $461 and change per quarter. Out of nowhere, now they want 28% on top of that. With this inflationary environment and the holidays upcoming, right, it's just really a kick in the teeth, to be honest with you. So I'll keep it short. I'm compelled to raise a significant concern regarding the lack of transparency and impact this increase will have on an already burdened community. As I mentioned, the water bills are excessive, and it's a monopolistic provider. Secondly, the lack of detailed information regarding the nature of this increase request raises questions about the necessity and the legitimacy. To ensure the trust and confidence of the community, I strongly advocate for a full audit be conducted, providing a clear breakdown of the company expenses and the reasons behind this substantial increase. Furthermore, the proposed rate hikes are exorbitant and will unduly burden the community. The residents are already subject to outlandishly high water rates, as I mentioned. I urge the Town of Monroe Board to consider the economic well-being of the residents and to scrutinize the proposed rate hikes more thoroughly. A transparent breakdown of the sewer company expenses and a detailed account of how the increase in quarterly surcharges will be utilized is imperative before any approval is granted. In conclusion, I request that the Monroe Town Board prioritize the concerns of the community and undertake a rigorous audit process before making any decisions on the proposed rate increases. It's essential to ensure that the financial burden imposed on the residents is justified and that the company's actions align with the best interests of the community. Thank you for your attention to the matter.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Okay. So, I just want to know what the flavor of the board is.
Can we request an audit? I mean, can we ask them to give?
Every request has to have substance behind it.
Yeah, I think you could request information,
Yeah.
related to the rates, not necessarily,
Like a
overall
literal audit, yeah.
Right. But you could certainly request financial information. Supervisor, I don't know if you,
We have all that.
You-
All of that's in our
Okay.
packets. Yeah.
so if you have that information, then it would be a matter of reviewing it, and the standards.
Yeah, we
kind of-
have their figures, but, as per the speaker, he's questioning the legitimacy of the figures, so,
I don't think that's for us to determine.
yeah,
I
that's
think-
what I'm getting
I
at.
think they have to do their due diligence for an audit.
Okay, so we can converse with the current, who is requesting this specifically, the HOA?
No, this is
No,
the,
it's
no.
the.
It's the company.
New Mansion
So-
Ridge Sewer Company.
Under the
Okay.
Transportation Corporation's laws.
But the HOA would like the audit.
Yes,
Yeah.
so, it's okay.
That's-
So, yes, we could ask them,
Who is them?
I'm just gathering my thoughts based on the new information. and
Transportation
trying to-
Corporation?
Yeah, I want to basically ask the Transportation Corporation if they would give us any information behind the justification for the increases. I mean, I read this, and they
I
say
don't
that
think,
they.
I do not think that is our job. I said
I
that
don't
once.
really know why you're like getting sort of.
Because I said it once, and I'm going to say it again. That's not our responsibility. That's the responsibility of the HOA. Our responsibility is to object to this and offer another type of settlement, or to agree to it.
So we can have a conversation with the HOA, put it on pause until they come to terms with the transportation company, if that's what we feel is their.
No.
role.
I don't
No.
think we can.
The conversation is not with the
We
HOA.
have till January 26th, no matter
Right.
what.
Yeah.
So I object. I think what we're getting at is whether or not we want to agree to these rates. I object to these rates, and I
Well,
agree
just to be
with.
clear, your standard is whether these increases and the rates being charged are fair, reasonable, and adequate under the circumstances.
Literally says that they are inputting a slight profit, whereas previously they were not. So I don't, that to me does not make, it says, and provide a small operating margin, whereas previously, like, they did not. I don't, that just is odd. So I guess I would also just like more time to specifically understand our exact purview over this, but you said that it's basically, if you're saying that we have to decide if it's fair and reasonable, but he is saying that he wants them to split it up into 3 sort of installments, is that something that we can even
No, it's
pursue?
not certain installments over
It's
either
raises over a period, yes, I
over
know.
2 or 3 years.
That's what an installment is, Supervisor. So is that even something that we could request?
Yes. I mean, look, let's be clear, you can request whatever you want. If you feel, hey, we like, and they could say, we don't think that's relevant, and we gave you the information you need, that, we can't mandate them to turn over the information you're talking about.
Okay.
But we can ask for anything we want, make a request and say some board members.
No, we can't make them. No, I would
Right.
just like to request that if they could give any more justification of the cost of why they're building in more of a cushion this time. I mean, I would like to collaborate on what we send back. So I think it's the consensus is that we are going to send something back. What is wrong with you?
I thought I made it pretty clear. It's not our job to request information from the,
He said we can't
Mansion
make them.
Ridge.
What?
but we can ask for
What's
it.
I just said the name, I thought you were looking for it, Mansion Ridge
Yeah,
Sewer Company.
yeah, it's not.
We can't make them, but in our determination whether the rate hikes are fair, we can ask for information that we feel is pertinent to that decision, so
Have all the information. What other information other than financials
that's
you
what I
feel-
just said.
do you feel is needed?
We have conclusionary financials, we don't have what was built in. I really don't feel like discussing this with you, because you don't even know the meaning of the word installment, so can we just make a motion to do something? Because if we're gonna respond, my base motion is that we, collaborate on what is sent back to the company to
I'll make a
negotiate
motion,
the
I'll make a
rates.
motion, like I have been doing for the last 2 months.
You don't actually have to say
in-
the word motion.
I will make a motion to discuss with both the auditing company and then relay back to Mansion Ridge representatives what I've discussed, and then we will come up with hopefully a negotiated agreement. I'm not asking for any more information. Do I have a second?
I'll second that.
Call the question.
Hingham, aye.
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Well, aye.
The motion itself includes that you refuse to ask for more information?
Heard the motion.
Nay.
Okay. Move on. Item,
Guys, just so we make sure we catch the 90 days, do you want to put this on for the 21st of January, or do you want to?
let's see how they go. Maybe we could put it on. I don't traditionally like to do a lot of business at our reorg meeting,
Yeah,
but it doesn't mean we can't.
okay, just, so we get it on one of those.
Yeah, okay. All right. Under new business, Mary and I exchanged emails today on the ban for Water District Number 12. So, Mary, what I'd like to do is approve the ban for $165,000. We don't have to borrow that.
Okay, because
But-
I thought it was going to be less.
Yeah, it's really what you had stated in there, 132, I think it was.
Right.
But I just want to make sure at the end of the year, there is that amount in fund balance for the district. So if we make the motion for 165, we can borrow on the ban up to 165. It doesn't
Don't
have,
need it, we don't use it. Okay, fine. I'll second that motion.
okay. You want me to be specific with that? It's a ban for water, I'm making a motion for a ban for Water District 12 to repay back the town for a deficit or debt that they have incurred. I think it goes back to 2020.
It had extra engineering costs.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I will make that motion. And note that it is a taxable ban because it's past 2 years. So essentially what that means is.
I'm sorry.
Reading it.
Find controversy or this.
We just don't know.
Councilwoman Bingham, you want to answer that?
I live in the district, and I've known that there has been a debt the district has owed the town since, like the supervisor said, since 2020, and it had to do with extra engineering costs. Unfortunately, that water district was revised during COVID, and things were definitely crazy at that time. So we've had some fund balance. So originally, the amount was like $212,000. So that's why we have to pay the town back. We've paid portion of it back already, and that's why the supervisor suggested taking a ban out for $165,000, just in case we need it. Not that I think we need it, but in case we need it, we have that extra cushion. So I would agree with taking a ban out for the $165,000, and the water district will finally make the town whole. because the town cannot subsidize a water district.
Call the question.
Am I?
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Bull, aye.
Richardson, aye.
So moved. Request, under old business is the request for proposals for town prosecutor.
Right, we have an RFP that Norton and Torrey has prepared. There will have to be one minor change because due to the Thanksgiving holiday, we couldn't get in touch with our insurance carrier. And we needed to include a line for professional liability insurance in the amount of $1 million. And that would be to cover in case there's any errors or omission that might result in the course of their professional conduct. So I would like the town board to accept the RFP and the notice for a prosecutor with the addition of this one line, which Norton and Torrey could add.
Do we
Okay.
have to approve it?
Wait, Val, Val.
Yes, Councilwoman Bingham. In actually myself looking through the bid packet, I came across a couple of other things this afternoon. The professional liability insurance we have covered. Underneath the submission requirements, this bid packet looks a little bit different from bids that we've previously dealt with.
Right,
As you know, my
professional
office,
service, it's a professional service, and I think the last one had to do with construction services.
right, but in looking at the submission requirements for here, like number 2, it seems like it's basically mimicking a resume. The qualification,
Are you referring to scope of services?
no, I'm on page 2, submission requirements.
Oh, okay, thank you.
References, number 6, I believe they're referring to the bid. Number 7 is the certificate of insurance. My only question is, with this type of bid, normally we require a bidder questionnaire, a non-collusion, and I don't know if this is because this is not construction, but
It's an RFP.
It's
It's an
for
RFP.
law too, so
Yeah.
that, I don't want to presume, but I think it does list a list of any potential conflicts of interest, which is sort of what you're getting at with the collusion. And I believe the professional standards of ethics within the profession sort of eliminate some of those concerns.
So in looking at Morangi's RFP, we had required a certificate of insurance, sexual harassment initials by the bidder, signing off on that, non-collusion, Iran, statement of independence, transmittal letter, and bidder questionnaire. So also workers' comp. I don't know if this is something that is required for this particular bid. Like I said, it's not included in this 2-page bid packet,
Do
or not
address
2 pages,
workers'
I'm
comp
sorry,
for a consultant?
6 pages.
Do we need to address workers' compensation for a consultant?
Do you provide workers' comp, counsel?
I thought that was in this, I was just browsing through, I thought you had reference to that. This is it in the,
Yeah, it says,
Yes.
it says
under
professional liability insurance,
there's number
workers'
2,
comp.
workers' comp.
Okay, yeah.
But I'm addressing all these other checklists that when,
I think they're
My
phrased
office
differently
opens-
than, you have certain forms that are, that they're addressed just differently in here. So from Morangi, it was expressly, what did you call it, a workman's compensation?
this is for every bid that my office has opened. There's a
what is it
check,
called?
it's just a checklist.
Submission requirement.
It's a submission, transmittal letter, statement of independence, sexual harassment, signing off on that, non-collusion, Iran. I don't know if that is required in this particular bid. So that was one of my concerns.
I don't have a problem requiring it. I don't,
Yeah, I mean, if it's a sexual harassment, like, policy, it seems like they just sign it, right? It's just a statement that, of like, the employee.
Well, yeah, every employer has to
Yeah.
have one, so
Yeah,
it's state
we
law.
have that included in our handbook, and if we have to pop out a page and attach it, or
Well,
does our handbook already?
It wouldn't be yours, it would be whoever bids would have their own policy.
Okay.
But they have to have one, yeah. So you could
Yes.
say, in other words, you must
That
state
the
that
town
you
of
have a
Monroe,
policy.
okay, so we have to add something that the town of Monroe, is it in there already, and it's just under somewhere that we didn't see? Because that seems like, hold on.
So additionally, something else that I think should be removed is the request of an electronic PDF copy that they're indicating must be submitted to my office at the date and time that the bid is due. That is not something that is typically done. The bids are received in a sealed envelope and will be opened at that designated date and time and read out loud. At that point, once the bid opening is completed, my office scans in those bids and will email them to the board members. So this is not something that should be emailed to me if it's confidential ahead of time.
Do you have this already set out in language that you typically use in your previous posted bids? As in, you basically have a draft.
What do you mean?
So when you have experience with bids, it's already been written out in a structure that includes all of that because the town has successfully used this practice. So it seems like we could just take the pages from previous draft and sort of,
Well, I had sent Mary a previous,
You sent it to Norton and Torrey as well.
okay, yes.
Right.
okay, so we
And
just
that
have
was,
to-
I think that was the bid notice, correct? Because originally it did
Right.
not indicate the,
The opening at 12 o'clock.
correct.
Right.
so do you just want to remove the PDF part of it?
Remove the PDF part of it.
She wants to add all of the, requiring sexual harassment policy from their end and all the other things that she's listed as well. So it's more work. We can't even encompass that, I don't think,
Oh,
in a
right.
motion.
So that sounds like you want more to this RFP,
Unless
so it's not ready to be sent out yet.
We've previously accepted things conditionally upon the approval of the attorney, but would we,
But we can't-
we would do it, could
Can't
we do
talk
it for
to him
not?
tonight.
Can't talk to
Can
them.
we do it
This
for
is
not?
gonna be-
You could do it.
Yeah,
You should
I would
it
like
for
to do
Naughton,
that for
because
Naughton.
What?
You should do it subject to
Naughton.
Naughton's firm, because obviously that's why I don't really want to give advice or recommendations on this, because our of council may submit on this RFP.
Yes.
So if you want to, you can either approve it, in the final form approved by Naughton and Torrey based on the town clerk's comments, or
I would like to make that motion,
In a final form,
subject to
ba-
approval
subject
by,
to approval
Kelly
by
Naughton.
Kelly Naughton and Tory.
Norton and Torrey.
based on the town clerk's comments and the board's comments tonight, 12-2.
Who will second?
Call the question.
Hingham, aye?
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Who will aye?
Richardson, aye.
So
Thank you.
moved. Public comment?
No public comment, that was addressed earlier.
Okay. All right. No executive session, right? No.
Not unless we are trying to make an agreement with,
Okay. I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
Call the question.
Hingham, aye?
Scangarello, aye.
Cardone, aye.
Who will aye?
Richardson, aye.
Wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah.